We are rolling. Welcome back to Two Dudes Talking Motorcycles. If you're wondering, if you're watching this and you're wondering why I'm sitting awkwardly close, it's because I forgot my mic stand.
He actually just wants to be closer to you guys.
I do.
So
you're our audience, and we are thankful for you. But I forgot my mic stand, so I'm using a cardboard box to prop my mic up a little bit. So it works. We do what we can. Anyways, thank you again for joining us. This is episode 10, and if you've noticed, we've published.
We're ramping up.
We're ramping up a little bit. We're trying to do at least 2 episodes a month.
Yeah.
And we're probably just going to stick to that.
Yeah. And our new platform we're getting some more traffic, I think.
A little bit, yeah. But it's also a nicer platform. We moved over to Buzzsprout.
Yeah.
It's not sponsored.
No, but
sponsor us. but yeah. So thank you again for tuning in, and it's episode 10, which, I mean, we made it to 10 episodes.
Yeah, I think we started in November last year.
We did start in November. We started around Thanksgiving time. That's when we recorded our first one. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So we're approaching the 1 year mark fast.
Looking pretty good.
And this year went by very fast. So, anyways, today we wanted to try and do kind of a ride report. So we talked about before about long distance riding and lessons learned. So we're kind of backtracking to that a little bit, but talking about one ride specific, and that was our longest ride that we've done together, and that was the ride to Ouray, Colorado, and the $1 Million Highway
to Silverton
before snow and with a little bit of snow
and still snow.
With still snow. And we kind of just wanted to go more in depth into this ride because we had some questions and people emailing us about like what's a pack like on your motorcycle, like what kind of toolkits and what kind of like necessary or emergency type items to bring.
Yeah, kind of what's our roadside kit and
And we thought that this would be a good ride to talk about it because this was our longest ride and the one that probably required the most preparation and the most like thinking before or planning it beforehand. Even though it wasn't like anything crazy like some people do.
Yeah,
it was still. I mean, it's still a full 3-day. It
was our first stretch across state lines, and it was our longest ride.
It was what about 1,200 miles total?
Something like that.
Yeah,
it was
so there and back. So it was a pretty good distance. So we felt like this would be a really good ride to kind of talk about those topics and talk about how we planned the ride, how we planned our route, where we planned to stay, and all of those kinds of things. What kind of gear we wore, what we did to prep our bikes. What we had for our roadside kit, and basically all of the essential things that we hope that that's the takeaway you'll have is what worked for us, what didn't work for us, and if you're planning a long ride in the future, hopefully these tips help you plan that a little bit better.
Yep. So, and then this request also came a while ago from Sarah to talk about the roadside kits, like what's in them and things like that. So here you go.
Yep. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we jump into the main topic, we have some news to cover. And if you remember a couple of episodes back, we talked about the future of motorcycling and alternative fuels. And we talked about
last episode.
Nope. Last one was CF Moto.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yep. So we were talking about alternative fuels and alternative or just future motorcycles in general. And we talked about Kawasaki developing or having a prototype of a hydrogen internal combustion engine. Mm-hmm. So while I was doing research for this episode, I saw that Yamaha is also another company that's jumping in on the development of a hydrogen engine or an internal combustion hydrogen engine. They've already kind of had a prototype they developed with Toyota for a race car, and they had kind of this very broad and brief video about using that type of engine to either power batteries or as just a replacement for a combustion engine. And once again, the idea behind that is to preserve the feel and the sound and the noise of a gasoline engine the best we can, while also reducing emissions and pollution and all of that stuff that comes from a gas engine.
Yeah. No, it's again, I'm still excited to talk about it. So
yeah, it's a pretty cool concept. But since I saw that, I just kind of wanted to show, or the reason I wanted to bring it up is because it's to show that there are companies working to make sure that happens, or to try and make that happen.
Yeah, and I think there was something like along the lines, like the big four Japanese brands were going in on it. So it's like they're the big companies they're hopeful for it. So yeah.
So I like the idea of it. I like it. I like to see where it goes and how it bodes for future motorcycling, because I'd like to see the sound, or I'd like to see like the part that makes the internal combustion engine cool and fun and exciting be preserved.
Right. Yeah.
And if this is the way to do it, then that's the way to do it.
Hell yeah. So we didn't even really get to talk about it much too. On the electric side too, there's also like the Triumph project, the TE1 project. They're doing their electric bike that they've partnered with a few companies with, and so we're designing some sort of newer electric engine. So.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that plays out, and to see what kind of emergent technologies. So that's our brief little news. And then for the second news topic, we kind of forgot to mention this. This happened back in June.
Yeah.
But this was so Triumph, they set a record for the longest distance ridden in 24 hours.
And by a lot.
By a lot. So it was set by Ivan Cervantes. And do you want to go over some of the stats there?
Yeah, I mean, so he rode the newer Tiger 1200 GT, the 2022, 3.
One of those.
2, yeah. So the newest one. So, and he rode. Let's see, it was through Italy, I believe, right? Yeah. Yeah. So he rode through Italy.
It's not through Italy. It was on the ring.
Oh, it was on the ring.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it was on like a round. Think NASCAR. A round racetrack.
Yeah, it was a track.
In Italy.
So that's what I mean. So, but no, it was this absolute unit of a rider, man. He went over nearly 2,500 miles within a 24-hour period, which just
it's crazy.
How long did we ride?
1,200 miles.
Yeah,
back. That was over 3 days.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's not an easy feat. And I think he beat the previous record by 300. Oh, right here, yeah, 373 miles. Yeah, which is just
they have
wild.
Some key facts here on this article, and so he traveled. The length of one lap is 7.86 miles, or 12.64 kilometers, and he did 317 laps.
Man,
that is crazy. I don't know how you would get bored. The average riding speed was average speed over 24 hours was 104 miles per hour, which is number of pit stops 18, 137 gallons or 520 liters of fuel used.
18 pit stops for over 2,500.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the range on the
number of tire changes 1, hours of sleep 0. So props to this record, because I just thought it was kind of cool, and since we're talking about long distance riding again today, or talking about our longest ride, I thought this would be a fun little bit of news to mention, because it's crazy.
It's nuts.
It's just insane.
See, if it were me and I had to go that long, I'd have an IV of just pure caffeine underneath my jacket, being pumped in my veins to keep me going.
So, and the cool little fact that I saw in the article here is it says that the motorcycle that they used, like you said, was the Tiger 1200 GT Explorer, so it had the bigger fuel tank.
Oh, yeah.
But the cool thing is that it was chosen at random from the production line at Triumph. So this was a bone stock bike, stock tires. After we had one tire.
It was a factory bike.
Yeah. So it was a factory bike. The only thing they did before this was they did the run-in service, the first service, the break-in service.
Yeah.
Before the ride was undertaken.
Yeah.
So, other than the break-in service, the bike had no prior service done, nothing done to it, and it was just straight from the factory. And that is pretty cool. I don't know why anybody would want to ride that far, but it is a feat. And I guess it's a really good way to advertise your motorcycle as being, look at that, this thing can carry you for almost 2,500 miles.
Yeah.
Without breaking a sweat, essentially.
Yeah, and I mean, so yeah, if you guys want to break the next record, I mean, you know your goal.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, he was just under 2,500 miles. So if you can hit 2,500 miles in under 24 hours, you'd be golden. I think you would be set. So good luck. Let us know if you decide to undertake that. We'll promote you to our small audience. Anyways, I just thought that would be a really cool bit of news to share, and I think we can just move on to our main topic.
Yeah, I think so.
Which was the ride to Ouray.
Yeah,
Ouray,
and more
Colorado.
like the planning and
and the
logistics side of things.
And also riding the $1 Million Highway.
Yeah,
which was still probably one of my favorite roads that we have ever ridden.
Yeah, my cousin, he actually just moved to Denver, Colorado. I told him about the $1 Million Highway. He never heard of it, and he's like, it's only like a 5 hour. Like, oh yeah, we're doing that. So I showed him some pictures. Yeah,
it's pretty crazy that it's like the same distance from Denver to get there as it is for us to get there if you go the quick way.
Right. Yeah.
So we went the long way, but it was still funny. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. Do you want to start us off with kind of how we got the idea to do this ride and how we went about trying to plan the route and where we were gonna stay?
You'll probably have to help me with my memory on it, but because you're the one who showed me Ouray.
Was I?
Yeah, because I didn't find it.
Okay.
I had to look it up at some point, but yeah, we had to we planned for it took a minute, didn't it?
Yeah, I think if I remember right, this was last year.
Yeah. So we had Mexico, and then we had the ride.
Yeah, but we went to Mexico just as a little last minute trip just for fun. But the Ouray ride, we planned that out months ahead. We planned that out back in February before we decided to book hotels and figure out where we're gonna stay.
And figuring out which direction we were gonna go, because we through an online research and everything, and we both found out it's you want to go north to south. That's the way the preferred it's the prettiest way, I guess, or how you get to experience all of it.
Yeah, and I think I remember getting the idea of it because I wanted to ride somewhere outside of Utah. Yeah. Since we already ridden in southern Utah a little bit, plus that's where it gets really hot easily. So I thought
we had the opposite. Damn it! The camera. It was the opposite of hot at times.
Yeah, and I just thought it would be kind of cool. And then I don't remember where I saw it. I think I was just on Google or something, or maybe it was some YouTube video, and somebody mentioned the $1 Million Highway, and I started doing research into what it is.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God, that looks beautiful, and it's not even that crazy far away from us. And I'm like, yo, we gotta do this ride. We gotta ride this road because it's absolutely beautiful.
It's really hard to describe it. You really have to look it up and see pictures to grasp it. But it's great.
Picture of it here.
Oh yeah, I'll let him pull that up. But
so this is just from a view from Silverton.
Yep.
And there's
that's
parts
the
of
peak,
the ride.
or that's not the peak. With us on our bikes.
Yeah.
Next to our bikes. So that's the peak of 11,900 something feet.
Around there, yeah. So it's a very high up road. I think the average elevation is about 9,000 feet. So, yeah, it was it was just spectacular riding through it. It got a little chilly.
The weather decided to not work with us here, but that's what we planned.
Yep.
So,
and so once I saw the pictures of that road online, I was like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do, and that's kind of when the real planning got started, because our goal was to ride that road. But then we just had to figure out how we're getting there, where we're staying, and how long we wanted to ride.
Yeah, and once we knew we were gonna go to what I was doing, I don't know about you, but from the time we started planning, I started looking up what's the weather like this time of year?
Yeah.
What can we expect? And then as the time got closer, I was checking the weather for the town and the area pretty much every day till we left.
Yeah.
Just so I could kind of know what I need to pack for. And I was basically all packed, and those climb pants behind me, they're because I was gonna wear my Sand 4 pants. I bought those.
Yeah.
And they're good pants. They're good adventure pants, but they're pretty bulky, and we were gonna go through Moab and some hot places, then to cold.
Yeah.
So, and I found the climb pants to be better for the heat. And then I just could do leggings underneath, or long johns, and then I had I took the waterproof liner out of the Sand 4 pants, so it was just things like that to kind of adjust for plans last minute, even just be okay, those pants work better. Yeah, so so a lot of it.
I have those same pants, and they were
yeah. So, but that was jumping ahead. That was just part of the, including the planning. Like, be flexible with what you've planned so far.
Oh, definitely, because one of the hiccups we had before we even started the ride is I think it was like a couple of weeks before the ride that we found out there was a bicycle race.
Oh yeah,
going up and down the $1 Million Highway, so the whole thing was shut down for like.
But we found that out like 2 days before we left. Yeah. So everything was booked already.
Yep, everything was booked, but luckily we were able to add an extra night to our hotel.
Yeah.
Which actually turned out to be very beneficial because we got to explore even more of the area that we probably wouldn't have had time to do it otherwise.
Yeah.
So. Flexibility is definitely something that's important, that's needed, because maybe you decide that you really like the place and you want to stay longer, or something happens and something comes up that you would be forced to either cut the trip long or stay in a different town or figure that kind of stuff out.
Weather's going to stop you. I mean, because even though we knew the time it would take to get from where we are in Salt Lake City to Ouray, the trip was a lot longer because of things like our brakes and I'm doing Moab. That heat, I think it took us out for a minute.
Yeah, the heat. Well, we started off in Salt Lake, and it was about like in the 70s and the 80s at that point.
Here, right? Yeah.
Here, I believe. By the time we made it to Moab, it was hitting like 90 plus, and you could definitely
easily
feel
plus.
it. And we were already riding for like 4 or 5 hours at that point.
Yeah,
that's counting breaks.
And we had to pass through Satan's armpit, between Price and Moab.
Yeah, with the no man's land, basically. And, by that point, we were, probably a little bit dehydrated, kind of worn out, saddle sore, hungry, stuff. So Moab, so I guess the big thing, before we even, we're jumping ahead a little bit here, but before we even started planning, or once we figured out where we want to stay, where we want to end up, we planned on how to get there. Mm-hmm. And both of us knew that we didn't want to be on the freeway the entire time.
Freeway, it's rough. It's demanding, physically. It just, the wind and just having to be aware of everything around you. It's just boring. You're in a straight line.
Yeah, unless you're riding like a Goldwing or something, where you're in a nice little cocoon of air. I'm not a big fan of freeways just because they're just a boring straight line with really nothing to see most of the time.
Sure, it's fun to rev out, an empty stretch of road, but you can only do that for so long. You're like, okay.
Yeah. So we planned, our first goal when we were planning on how to get to Ouray was, okay, what's the funnest route we can take? Mm-hmm. We saw one that kind of takes us through northeast Utah and then drops us down. We saw the more direct route that goes through Grand Junction on the freeway, and we saw the other route which goes through Moab and then over to Colorado. Yeah. And we're like,
it's longer.
That's the one. It was about a couple hours, almost 2 hours longer, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
But it was well worth it, and it was a very fun, very twisty road.
Well, we got variety too.
We did. We rode through some desert canyons,
mountains, going through Provo, and all that one road taking us back through. The backside. So we had to go through, it was Provo Canyon, right? And then we turned off that one road, that one back road. To Highway 6. Anyway, I was going to say that we had mountains.
We were on Highway 6 the whole time.
Yeah, but we had to, go up a canyon, kind of.
On Highway 6?
To get to Highway 6.
No. Highway 6 starts in Spanish Fork.
Sorry, Spanish Fork. That's what I mean. Spanish Fork.
Yeah, but that's Highway 6.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
But no, that's the only way to get to Moab.
Yeah, but what I was going with that was it's really cool because we got to see mountains. Yeah. Some twisties, some green fields, and into the red rocks in the desert.
Yeah, and then back into the mountains again. Once we hit the Colorado and the Telluride area.
Yeah.
So it was a very cool, awesome variety of different environments that we saw. And Moab made the perfect halfway point because it was pretty much halfway between here and there. So by the time we got to Moab, like I said, we were pretty tired and stuff, been riding for a few hours at that point. So it was a nice spot to take a long break.
Yeah.
There's plenty of places to eat and find food there, some coffee shops, get water, resupply. So I think one of the big things is if you're planning a long ride is once you figure out your route, find a good town that would make a good halfway point. Something not too not too small of a town, but probably not too big either, because you don't want to get bogged down in traffic or parking and things like that. But something that has enough places to eat and kind of
and that's kind of one thing that like I wish it. I don't think we really researched Ouray enough, honestly, because everything closes at like 6 there, or like 7.
7 or 8, yeah.
Because we pulled in and like the only thing open for food was a gas station.
Gas station sandwiches. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
So like like. I don't know. I felt like personally, I just felt like I felt kind of blindsided by how early everything closed.
Yeah, that did throw us off because I'm kind of used to just places being open till at least like 10 and stuff because it was a Friday. Yeah, like it wasn't like middle of the week or anything. So,
but it makes sense though, being a small tucked away mountain town.
Yeah, like, it might close down a little bit early,
even for tourists. So.
And we just didn't know that, and maybe tourism season didn't kick in.
It was cold.
Didn't go into full swing. Yeah, I mean, it was Memorial Day weekend. Yeah. When we went, but maybe they haven't gone to full swing of
I
things
bet that place is popping in the summer.
Oh, 100%. And it's because it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's so beautiful. But yeah, that's also another good point is kind of research your destination to make sure that when you're tired after your long trip of getting there, so you know where you can, definitely figure out when your hotel, if they have a check-in time, if they have a cutoff point, if they close at a certain point.
Well, we ended up even pulling in late because on our way to we were maybe an hour away from Ouray. I felt my phone buzzing in my pocket, and we got there. It was the hotel calling, "Hey, you checking in? We're closing. Really? Our office is closing soon."
Okay, see, that's exactly why. And if the hotel does have a check-in cutoff, call them, let them know, hey, I'm still on my way. It's just taking me longer to get here than I anticipated, blah, 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 whatever excuse. Just so they know, okay, this person's still showing up. Yeah. Let's wait for them because they paid. But also, like you said, research the town where you're at, research what food places are going to be open, if you need to stop and eat something, on the way before you get there because things might be closed. Research where the gas station where the gas station is, so you're not out there hunting or looking for one.
We have a discrepancy in our gas tank sizes.
Yeah, so. It's that. So kind of plan that out, figure that out when you're before you even get to your destination. Just know where everything is at, so you're not wandering around or riding around or walking around like a new town and trying to find something to eat after you've been riding for several hours and you're pretty much tired and just want to lie down and just go to sleep.
Yeah, and it sounds straightforward, duh stuff, but no, really, it all adds up. You want to make sure you have at least a baseline plan, but also be willing to have some flexibility on it. If you have to push further, just do it safely. If you're ahead of schedule, again, just take your time.
Take a longer break.
Yeah.
Sit down, enjoy the scenery. Have a snack. Drink some water. Drink plenty of water. Drink lots of water, especially if you're riding it through a hot climate.
But no, yeah. So it's just little things like that, and then again, going back to earlier planning too, figuring out where you're gonna stay. It's nice that I can still pull us discounts from some places for hotels.
Yeah, and also. Figure out how you're going to stay. So for this trip, we decided to basically treat Ouray as a base camp. Mm-hmm. So we got to our hotel, we took off all the luggage, left it in the room. So for the next 2 days of exploring Telluride and riding around there, and then for the next the day after in the $1 Million Highway, we didn't have any luggage weighing the bikes down. We kind of just
that was really nice.
Had a nice empty bike with just a backpack for me, a tank bag for you. So so figure out how you want to stay too. And I really liked having the base camps. That way you're not hauling your stuff all the time. You can kind of leave the stuff there and you have someplace to come back to without having to move your stuff to a whole new hotel.
No, that honestly, I'm a big fan of the home base idea because just being able to unload your gear and just ride and not travel, it was really nice. If you can find nice. So finding a good home base, look at areas that you might want to check out, and or maybe if there's only one area you want to go, then just look in the area and see if there's a place that could be a good home base because you could check out other stuff.
Yeah. So it just kind of depends on how you want to ride. I mean, obviously, if you're hopping from city to city and trying to do a giant loop, it's not going to work the same because you kind of have to, stay somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if you're riding just to explore one, like you said, one specific area, then a base camp is kind of that's the way I like to.
Yeah.
I like to do it.
No, same with me. I mean, we're gonna be doing a trip here probably once the heat drops down a bit, and
yeah, we'll try.
We haven't done one yet, like for multitude of reasons, but like one being my bike is gonna need new brakes before any long distance, and I could do it myself, but I just don't really want to. So I'm
you gotta wait for the service.
Yeah, I was waiting for the service,
and that brings us to another good point: is check your bike.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're planning a long trip, you want to, and before we even did this trip, especially go through like all the basic maintenance. Check your tires. I mean, you should be doing this stuff before any ride, really, especially any long ride. But as always, like check your tires, check your tire pressure, make sure there's no like tears, rips. Make sure your tire's in good condition. Make sure all your electronics on your bikes. Make sure all your electronics on your bike are working, lights, blinkers, brake lights.
Make sure your bike starts.
Make sure your bike starts. Make sure there's no weird puddles underneath it. Check oil, coolant, everything like that. And that's the day of. If you need to do an oil change or plan some scheduled maintenance, do it well before the ride so it's ready. Yeah. So it's ready to go.
Well, the other reason I'm taking my bike in because like I don't know how to do it, and I also don't really want to mess up my bike and attempting to do it. I'm pretty sure my bike's in need of a chain adjustment too, so that's another thing you gotta be aware of, especially if you're gonna be pushing your bike for a long time.
Yeah,
for duration.
That too. And make sure you bring some chain lube.
Yep.
And chain oil with you. And most bikes will tell you to clean them like every 500 miles, but as long as you keep them greased and stuff, and like it depends on where you're riding to. Riding through dirt, it
depends on your distance really. Like if you're gonna do like a 400-mile trip total, like as long as you do it before you go, then you should be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're pushing like long distance, then you'll want something.
Yeah, you'd want to like something to lube it up after.
Anything just to decrease your chances of like something like a chain snapping, like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So that would be bad.
Yep.
So let's talk about gear for the trip.
Mm-hmm.
So what we wore, what we brought with us, or luggage. Okay, let's talk about like what we were actually wearing first.
Yeah.
And then we talk about like luggage and how we all had that set up.
Yeah, and like it was, I don't want to say it was tricky, it's just what we had to plan for, so we're leaving here in Utah in this 80s, something like that. So I had like a thin moisture wicking shirt on and nothing underneath that shirt. The pants, like those brown pants. There, those pants. On, again, like nothing but like some briefs underneath that, boxer briefs from there. But what I had ready to deploy, if it got cold, we could pull over. I could just strip down and pull on like some long johns. If it got colder, I could throw on a hoodie or t-shirt or another shirt, another layer like that, basically. Just knowing what we were going into. I knew like for the first half of the trip it was going to be hot, and it was hot.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have sent you the picture of me standing in the parking lot in the middle of like, is that Green River? Green River.
Yeah, so, like dog park.
Yeah. That was. Sure enough, it was hot. But then by the time we were getting closer to Ouray, the sun was starting to set. It wasn't quite cold, but it was. I had to zip up my vents.
Yeah. Same.
Turns the heated grips on. So I didn't actually have to pull them out, but I could have if we needed to.
Yeah.
From there, and then that's why it's nice. There we go. That's what's nice about the sand jacket too, is that you can deploy the layers. You have multiple vents from there.
They're very good jackets. I have the same one, just in black.
In black, yeah. We have this weird thing where we end up we don't collaborate.
We don't plan this. We don't plan to have the same gear.
There's no planning or collaboration in the same gear. It was like hey Gleb, look what I bought, and it's like, you son of a bitch. I
already have that, dude. You gotta pick something else. At least our colors are not the same.
Yeah, or it's just like, dude, look at this jacket, look at these pants, I like those. Like, oh, I like those too. It's like, well, you can't get my color.
Yep. You gotta coordinate not to wear the same thing.
Yeah, anyway.
But yeah, the sand jacket is very good. And I was basically on the same boat as you. I was checking the weather and stuff before we left and making sure to pack layers.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought some sweats with me to wear underneath just in case it got cold.
Yep.
I'm much more cold tolerant, so
we're complete opposite on temperatures.
Yep.
So
brought some sweats. I brought like a little sweatshirt to wear underneath for like a thermal layer, and then obviously with the sand jacket, it's waterproof.
Has a
waterproof layer. I don't like their thermal layer.
Same. That's why I bring something
else. Like a weird crop top thermal layer, and it just doesn't work. I prefer like a puffy jacket from like Patagonia or Columbia or whatever your favorite outdoor brand is, because those compress really well, especially underneath like a riding jacket. So I would
down layers are nice.
Yeah, down layers are nice, but also just like a nice fleece or
just
fleece or wool sweater underneath does wonders and kind of keeps you. I would say the down jacket is for like cold temperatures.
Yep.
Like fleece sweater works well for, mildly cool temperatures.
Yeah.
And also, just like you, I did wear like some athletic underwear, a moisture wicking t-shirt and stuff, like a workout shirt. That way, especially once you get into that heat, that way it kind of like keeps you dry, keeps you more comfortable, and wicks the moisture away from your body, so you're not either drenched in sweat, or when it's cold, it keeps doing that, so you're not feeling like your own sweat isn't like cooling you off, basically.
Yeah. So just but then waterproof layers. Like I said, I didn't have like actual like outer waterproof layers for those pants, because I had planned on wearing the Sands, which was the glowy thing down there for the YouTube viewers. But yeah, I'm really glad. I'm actually really glad I didn't wear those in Moab, because even though they're like all season, they are black. They are thick. I think I would have been. And
I have the black Sand, and I am never again buying black gear. It's too hot, especially if you live in a hot climate like here in Utah. It's just too much.
I don't think I'll own any more black riding gear.
Yeah, so. You're not even the helmet. It does look cool when you're like all clad out in black.
Yeah,
but between like the helmet and the jacket and stuff, it's just way too much.
Yeah. And speaking of helmet, I have just like a touring. I guess it's touring. It's a road helmet, just the Shoei GT Air 2. It did really well. It has like a chin strap here or a beard skirt, chin skirt. Yeah. So for colder weather, you can put that on. You're not getting as much air blowing in. You can close all your vents. So
also, if you're riding in colder weather, like a neck buff.
Yeah.
That does a world of difference, especially if you can cover
really
half your face.
I actually have mine over there. I have a windproof one.
It helps so much.
It really does. So.
And I heard that, and damn it.
Every time.
And I've never tried this in the summer, but I've looked online, and people are suggesting like to also wear in the summer, but you like soak it in some water.
Yeah, I've done that.
Stuff, so it keeps like cold air flowing through your neck, which is also really nice.
Yeah, one of these things. They're super thin.
Yeah, perfect. And also it helps keep the sun off your neck too, which in turn helps you keep
I was actually thinking about that the other day. It's like for riding, because I always get sunburn on the back of my neck if I don't have something like that. But it also like always like slips down. I still get like this weird strip on the back of my neck.
Yeah.
So I was actually thinking like those UV shirts. Thinking of getting out of the hooded ones, wearing like a hoodie, the sun shirt.
Just the helmet over. Okay.
Yeah, just to keep the neck covered.
So figure out like where you're riding and what the weather is going to be like, and even if it's like a warm place, still bring an extra layer just in case, because you never know how the weather can change. I made the mistake of forgetting my waterproof gloves.
Yeah, that's what I was pulling out next. I have my these are also Revit.
The Chivak or something.
No, these are. I actually forget the name of these.
Because I have the same ones.
I think maybe they are that. But anyway, I took like. These are actually a little too small for me, but in a pinch they work.
Yeah.
They kept my hands mostly warm. I don't know, man. With heated grips though, like I feel like sometimes it takes a long time for me to feel the heat through these thick gloves.
Yeah.
So if I could get something that was like waterproof and windproof on top, but maybe just something that could transfer heat.
Maybe like just summer waterproof gloves that don't have insulation.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because it works both ways. It's insulating inside and out.
Yeah. So but I have these like ready to go and Gleb can talk about that on the way back, because in the riding in the rain and snow and hail.
I did not have my winter gloves or my cold weather gloves, and it was a little bit of a misery.
Didn't we try duct taping like your sleeves to the gloves so that they could
get air in? I can't remember. We tried doing something. Yeah. And I remember I just tried tightening my sleeves down really tight to keep the air from going into my sleeves.
Tried to give you like a spacesuit
grab one of these. So for those of you that are watching online, for listeners. The nice thing about these kinds of gloves
gauntlets,
or they're a gauntlet glove, so they go over the sleeve. And I personally really prefer that because it keeps wind from going into up my sleeve and like cooling off my arms. Is basically, you tighten them down over your sleeves, kind of like a ski glove. And it keeps the wind from entering your body and like cooling you off from there. But once the temperatures rise, those things are coming off immediately. They do not work well for that. So that's kind of like the gear and also the boots. We do have different boots actually, which is good.
Which is crazy.
Right? But you have the Alpine Star.
These are the oh geez.
I don't know what they are.
I forget also. Corazals. I have the tall Corazals.
And I have the TCX Dirt or Drift. I don't remember. I had it for a while. And I think yours are a little bit sturdier than mine.
Yeah, they got some pretty crazy like shin protection and everything. I do recommend like ADV boots for long distance.
Same.
You don't have to have the big tall ones. I got these ones because...
But if you are an ATV rider, if you are planning on doing off-roading, definitely you want the taller boots.
So.
If you're just touring, you can probably get away with something smaller. But not only would these protect you from, like in case of a crash, they give you a lot more protection, protect your shin from the weight of your bike, but also just general debris and things like that.
Yeah, well, I was noticing too.
It'll keep that away because they're pretty tall.
Depending on the socks you wear, these are pretty versatile in heat and cold too. These are waterproof. So in the heat, I would just wear like some thin wool socks so it absorbs the moisture. My feet might still be a little toasty, but they're not drowning.
Wool socks all the way. Knee-high wool socks. I use my thin ski socks. For motorcycle rides because they work wonders.
But I also pack like big heavy wool socks if it gets really cold. Because it is waterproof, so I don't really have that much of a problem. I haven't had to wear wool socks ever.
I haven't either.
So I think adventure or touring boots. I think that's why they're called that. So
because they're for touring.
They work.
They work well for multiple weather. I mean, they do get a little hot in the summer and stuff, but with the protection they offer and the versatility by being like waterproof and stuff, they're well worth like having your feet toasty for a minute.
And, and my little piggies were warm all the way home.
So that's kind of how our setup, or at least our gear, looks. And for my helmet, I don't have it on me. I don't have it with me, but I have. It's also a Shoei, but it's the Shoei Hornet X2. So it is the ADV helmet. And for those of you that are new to riding, the difference between like ADV helmets and like regular like road helmets and stuff is an ADV helmet is kind of a mix between a dirt helmet and a road helmet. So it's got a lot more room in the front, like in front of your chin.
It sticks out way more from here.
It sticks out way more. They typically have a peak on top to keep the sun off your visor and stuff, which helps a little bit unless the sun's low on the horizon, then it doesn't really do much.
And your windscreen's also you get more field of view.
And that's probably my favorite thing is my windscreen is really, really tall and really wide. So the only thing I notice is like the little area that goes up on the bottom. But not anything else, especially if it's super clean. But the nice thing about that is that because it has more area or more room up front, you do get a lot more airflow and circulation and stuff. Up there, which is what I really like.
And that's what I'm gonna probably get that one too, just in white. Again, I'm not doing any more like black color in the helmet and then summer stuff, which is where we live.
And I really like having the ADV helmet because I do like to ride off road and stuff, and it kind of helps a lot with that, especially because you get more airflow in them. And the peak also kind of helps protect your helmet from like branches or anything you might like. Hit it along the way.
Also the sun.
The sun. If you are riding a naked bike, however, that peak will catch a lot of air and might pull your head back. So kind of be mindful of that. But I think also for touring, if you're not planning on doing too much off-roading, or if you just want a touring helmet, like a lot of the modular helmets, since I got that one, like one that raffle one time, I'm a huge fan of that because you can kind of just pop it open, eat a snack real quick, take a drink.
I was actually thinking about it for a long distance too. It's like, man, I kind of want like a modular ADV helmet, so if we're just riding along, I can just like pop some water and like some chips or something while we ride.
So it's all personal preference, so it just kind of depends on what you want and how you're gonna ride and what kind of bike you're riding.
Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll get a modular helmet and I'll just like make like this like neck. I'll just take like a GoPro mount, chest mount, and just like convert it into like a little kangaroo snack pouch, so I can just lift up while we're riding.
I think you can already buy those pouches like that.
I want to make one.
Okay, well, you do what you want to do. And then, lastly, we'll kind of talk about emergency supplies, tools, and things you need to bring for.
So this is like kind of like the
for your emergency. So Mitch is going to do some show and tell.
Yay! So I didn't have this bag when we went to Colorado. I got it afterwards, but it's been helpful on our shorter rides.
Tell our listeners.
Oh yeah. So this is the I almost said CF Moto. It's SW Motec. It's one of the I forget the name again already. So it's like I don't prepare or something. But
is this one Legend?
It's just like that's just our Legend gear. So yeah, SW Motec. You can look on their website though; they got a whole bunch of stuff.
It's like one of their canvas leather bags, right?
I like it because it has I like them because they have certain mounts specific to your bike, and so the mount is really small and not as big.
Yeah.
Like massive thing if you're not carrying a bunch of panniers all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's hardly noticeable when I don't have the bag.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It
locks on the back, of course. You slide it in and it's nice and secure. Haven't had any problems carrying like even water and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Sorry to bang the metal clap right in the mic. Yeah, I'll put like just like the roadside stuff in here. So tools we have like zip ties, electrical tape. I don't have any of those in here right now, but that's typically what I'll throw in there. Big things that I would say big ones for long distance, even just for like, if you want to pack light, if you're not super worried about it. Tire pressure gauge. This is a digital one, and then a
tire inflator.
Yeah, inflator, air pump, compressor. Yeah, air compressor. It's been decent. This was like what, $30?
Yeah,
something like
that. I have the same one. My biggest gripe with it is like the actual cable, the.
So it's not like a typical like clasp-on one. You have to twist it.
Yeah, you have to twist it, but it's also very short. So if both of our bikes have spoked wheels, and it's really hard sometimes to kind of like get back there too.
And it took me some practice. You got to get pretty good about like getting that thing off of there, because if you're slow to get it off, like air's gonna leak out. You got to do it all over again.
Yep. I always try to because of that, I try to overinflate my tire a little bit. Mm-hmm. So by the time I twist it off, it's like back to normal.
Yeah. I'm sure most people know, or at least they should know. If you're gonna go from road to off road, like depending on the kind of riding you're gonna do, like it might be better to have a like less air pressure in your tires.
That's true.
For the dirt.
Yeah.
But then you should want to reinflate it when you get back to the asphalt.
And you should just have one just in case you get a flat.
Yeah, and leading into the flats, actually, I didn't pull it out. So along with those, to make your adjustments as you need to as you're riding, a tire repair kit is another big one that you want to have. To repair your tire if you have to.
To plug it or...
Yeah. This is a Bike Master. You have your CO2 canisters that you'll deploy once you like clean up the hole. And then you have not an adhesive, but like a goo.
Yeah.
So, they look like beef jerky almost. So you can... I've seen the ones that come in black. I kind of like that this is a different color, because then maybe it might be a little bit easier if you have like a nice clean cut. Because you'll plug the hole like with the tool, and you have to use like there's a little knife, and you'll need to like cut it back to like keep the hole plugged till you can get to somewhere to get a new tire.
Yeah.
So cause this is a temporary fix.
Yep. But it's a very important one because you can't get far with a flat tire.
So
very important to have.
But yeah. No. So those are just like some good like.
And then first aid kit.
Yeah, I'll get there. So, I don't carry fuses.
My little repair kit has basic fuses in it, just in case.
I think mine might, but like I don't know if you've seen the rat's nest of like the wire relay for the scrambler.
I have not. No.
I don't know if I really want to bother.
Gotcha.
I'll just call insurance at that
luckily,
point.
Mine is, and this is where the Tiger comes in very.
That's what I needed.
Very conveniently, is that everything's just kind of right up front on the Tiger. Triumph did a really good job laying that bike out for relatively easy maintenance for most things.
Yeah, and so before I get to like the first aid stuff, side note: if whatever you're going to carry, you should know how to use it. So get some classes and training from there. There's like again I mentioned before, but Dan the Fireman, there's a bunch of like stuff that you can do like at the site of a crash if something goes wrong, for like controlling the scene, who's on communications to get emergency, to kind of know where you are. I don't think we're really qualified to go into that. Like I can do that stuff, but I don't feel like I'm rusty.
We can save it for a different time too as well.
Once I get up there. But again, another thing before pulling it all out, how I pack it. So the tire repair stuff, the pump, if I'm going to put like those easy access layers that we talk about, or backup water or something, I put like the stuff that's not going to need a quick pull out, so like the repair stuff will go on the bottom around here. Mm-hmm. Then I'll do like some maybe the more important stuff like the
like hotel clothes and things like that.
Yeah, things like that. And I have another bag that's actually for luggage. This is more of a roadside with like quick access stuff.
Yeah.
So whatever else I need in there that I might just need to get to, so like those layers. And at the very top for quick access is the actual first aid kit. And again, this isn't packed for a trip. I've had to pull it out a few times just to like move it back and forth between stuff. So I have a SAM splint, so to immobilize any broken bones, anything from there. I don't carry a C-collar because they're big, but like in a pinch to help kind of hold the neck in place, you can roll this up and from there. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an EMT. Like, get training. But this is very handy, like for immobilizing broken bones and stuff from there.
Okay.
And I think that's like $9-10 on Amazon, and they work great. My neighbor, when she fell, actually, so my neighbor fell, and like I actually had to pull out one of these, and the splint helped immobilize her knee while her husband got dressed and took her to the hospital.
Yeah.
So, but this is a trauma kit. This one's like this is more for stopping bleeding from there if you have to, because again, if there's very little you can do, like in an accident on the side of the road. Like the biggest thing you can do is like immobilize somebody so that if they have a head or neck injury, then you can help with that. If they did get cut on something, or worst case scenario maybe like besides death is like if you got something got amputated. I carry a tourniquet. There's a rule with tourniquets. I'm not going to really unpack it, but you can kind of see the orange. I have to reverse the orange bit here. The rule of tourniquets is 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So my other tourniquet is in my car currently.
Yeah.
Again, learn how to use them, please. So, and how to deploy all this stuff. But the whole point of this is ready to go from the top of the bag.
Yeah.
Like so, with your sheep encounter, I was like, I could have grabbed all this if I need to. Right, I don't have to dig through anything. So
that makes
So put your important stuff on the top so you can get it out quick if you need to.
Water bottles, snacks.
Yeah,
snacks go on top.
When I still pack my tank bag, I'll put stuff like that.
Like tank bags are. That's another thing. Like I have a little Moscow Moto tank bag, which actually has a bladder in it too, which is really nice. Mm-hmm. So I can carry extra water that way.
Yeah.
And tank bags are perfect for easy access for things. I like to keep my camera in there.
Yeah.
To take pictures, snacks. Documents if you're traveling like international, passing borders.
Yeah.
Wallet, gas, like things like that work really well in a tank bag and snacks.
And this fell down, so I forgot about this. But I carry like a metric Allen wrench set all together, one piece. I think it was like $16 at Home Depot.
Yeah, Allen wrenches, zip ties, and stuff. Mm-hmm. Most bikes have something that an Allen wrench would need to be used for. So very useful to have.
Yeah, so I look at your bike, see what you need, and like I looked at my manual and was like, well, okay, what's all the sizes? And this has every single like Allen wrench that I would need.
Very good.
For any tightening on the road. So
for my luggage, I just have a pair of cheapo like Cortec saddlebags, and I'm hoping to upgrade to some Osco bags, something a little bit more substantial and more ready. I was going to do it this year, but I just haven't gotten around to it just because, proper touring gear can get pretty pricey and add up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Especially if you want something that, is going to last for a while, and that's what I wanted. I would rather just pay once and not worry about it than having to buy more cheaper stuff and then kind of replace it in a few years.
Yeah.
So for now, I just have a pair of little cheapo saddlebags, but hopefully that'll upgrade soon. And then I basically do what you do, is keep all the stuff that I won't need right away at the bottom, and kind of build it up from there. Like water bottles go on top. I also have a camera bag with me usually that I strap onto the back of my bike, and that has my camera camera equipment in it. My camera bag can hold quite a few things aside from the camera, so it acts as a nice bit of a little extra storage on there, but it does become a little cumbersome moving it on and off. And that's the other thing I hope to upgrade is to get a top box. That way I can kind of keep my camera bag in there, or a smaller camera bag in there instead of having to deal with straps and constantly taking it on and off. So it just depends on your bike and depends what you do. But most of my gear is basically the same as Mitch said. I don't have a trauma kit. That's something, or a first aid kit. That's something.
So.
That's something I need to make sure that I get and carry with me at all times on the ride, like long rides and stuff. But that's pretty much like the same as packing for any kind of trip. Whether you're traveling, backpacking, hiking, things like that, you want the stuff you need quick access and easy access to, sitting at the top of your saddlebags, and then all the stuff that you can take out when you get to the hotel, like lower and lower.
And again, that's the thing with the trauma kit. That's really built to like stop bleeds. So like if you want to carry some boo-boos stuff, like you want Band-Aids and like burn ointments, or bug bite stuff.
And I have the first aid kits for like hiking and stuff. As well.
Blisters.
That I have. And the other thing I was going to mention, rock straps.
Oh yeah.
Buy a pack of rock straps.
Stand up really quick to pull out another thing. Gosh, I keep bumping my mic. I'm so sorry, guys.
So rock straps are a super handy, and a net, cargo net.
Yeah, these elastic things.
That's what I need to get. But rock straps are magical, and those things are just work for any kind of situation. I'll always love to have.
They're magic.
Extras with me, because you can strap them, like you can strap something to your luggage, you can strap something to your top box, to the back seat to the pillion on your bike. Basically like so many different places, especially if you have like awkward shaped cargo. We strapped a pack of beer on the back of my bike with some rock straps. I use them for my camera bag. You can use it for additional luggage, and I think they're just something very useful and very useful to have as just an extra, just to keep on your bike, because they use they allow you to strap on additional things to your bike, so you have
quick
extra room.
Quick note about like rock straps and these little cargo nets. One in particular hook here was shaved down. You can see right here, Gleb.
Oh yeah.
So this was shaved down because my noob ass with my first bike, I put some stuff down on it. I hooked it on. I didn't take into account my weight getting on the bike, so when I sat down, it was behind me, this was grinding against the tire all the way home, and so it shaved like all the way off. For YouTube viewers, jump it on my hat.
There you
go.
There.
So
wow.
Fair warning.
So watch and if you are using straps, if you're using like
don't put them on hot parts either.
Don't put them on hot parts, or make sure they at least have a heat shield on them. Most bikes will have a heat shield above the exhaust, like adventure bikes at least, like above the
luggage. Mine.
Yours does.
Not in the back.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Where the cargo sits.
Make sure it's a heat shield, and if you're using rackless saddlebags, so they don't have racks, make sure your straps are clear of any moving parts, like your chain, your sprockets. Make sure they're really cinched down and your bags don't move around. And that's the other thing, is if you have dual saddlebags or just one like you, make sure your weight is still distributed fairly equally. On your bike, at least you have the exhaust on one side, so that kind of helps like even it out and stuff. But for pretty much most bags, you don't want them to be lopsided. You don't want more weight on one side than the other, because then that can throw off the balance of your bike. So also keep that in mind. Make sure you kind of don't put all the heavy stuff on one side, and just balance them out. I think that's pretty much
just things
most of the stuff. And for the rest of the trip, beyond that, it went pretty smooth. We got there super easy. We had a great time. We explored Telluride. We missed Itchy Boots by an hour, which we found out later.
I keep forgetting about that.
I
don't want to remember that, Gleb.
I know. I'm sorry. I remember it, so I have to keep reminding you. And then we rode the $1 Million Highway. We didn't make it all the way to Durango like we wanted to, because we got hit by some bad weather, and we just weren't sure if it was going to get worse or better. But yeah, it was a great highway. And then on the way back, like you mentioned, we hit really bad weather.
It
was full of rain and sleet.
What time did we leave in the morning? was pretty early.
It was pretty early. It was like 8 in the morning or 7 in the morning.
Yeah, 7 or 8, and we didn't get home till like
late.
Yeah.
And part of it, like, mostly it was fine until we hit the last stretch, basically, and that was between Price and Provo. And we got hit with really bad weather, and it goes up and over. Yeah. We mentioned in our previous episode that it got down as low as 45 degrees. And
what made me nervous the whole way home is like chasing us the entire way was these really ominous clouds.
Very ominous clouds. And yeah.
So be ready for that. That's another thing to plan for.
Yeah, make sure you have those all the layers you would need.
Yeah.
Even if you live in the desert or a hot area.
Well, we contemplated
don't underestimate
shortly of like before we realized like we could probably just beat it. But we shortly contemplated like, okay, if we have to stop somewhere for the night to let the weather roll through.
Yeah, we might have to. And sometimes that's something you have to do because I mean you're on a motorcycle. You can't. Yeah. You can't do what you can on the car sometimes unless you want to be miserable, power through. But just keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
Keep yourself from getting heat stroke or hypothermia, depending on whether you're riding. So if you feel like you can't do it, if you're starting to feel nauseous, drowsy, achy, or whatever, sick, like don't keep riding because it's a motorcycle. It requires attention and concentration.
It's supposed to be fun too, so
it's supposed to be fun. Yeah, you don't want to be miserable.
Yeah.
So, anyways, is there anything else you'd like to add? I think we covered most of.
I hope that covers everything people had questions for. Yeah. You know, we kind of talked about it before, but this time we really wanted to go into that dive of like what we typically will carry. Again, it's flexible for like where we're gonna ride.
Yep.
And flexibility I think is like the big thing. Like you know your first plan will typically fail or need changes.
Yeah. So. And next time we do a long ride again, we'll probably do another one of these kind of ride reports and talk about what went wrong, what went right, and
I think
what we learned.
Yeah. That's all I really have for like the topic. I think we've like talked it to death. For that one. But
so until the next ride, we probably will set the long distance riding aside for a minute.
Yeah. So, but no, keep all the comments and emails and stuff coming. We're on Threads now, and you know.
Oh yeah.
David, thank you for everything. I really do hope your CF moto is still working great for you. It looks like you had a great ride.
Yeah, It looks fantastic, and thank you all so much for listening. Remember, feel free to email us at tdtmotorcycles@gmail.com for any comments, suggestions, or you can reach out to us on Instagram and Threads and.
Whatever.
Or just our personal accounts. You know, at Gleb Lapham on Instagram.
Mitch to the beach.
Yep. Yeah. So feel free to let us know what you think. And thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, guys.